So today we're going to be doing kind of an overview of the refit of this 1979 Force 5. This boat has had a refit done to some degree to get it kind of race ready, but it's not complete. So we're going to start here at the stern. First thing we're going to do is cut a new access port in here, taking the old one out, which is the old 4-inch, and putting in an 8-inch access port to give us access to the back. Because one of the things we're going to do is actually reinforce the backing plate inside the hull for the rudder bracket. And then we're also going to be replacing the existing bolts, which are through bolted into an aluminum plate, which is tapped and threaded. So we are going to actually through bolt this and actually put washers and backing nuts inside the hull so we can do this. Part of that process will also involve aligning the bracket so it's square on the hull and hangs plumb behind the boat. So this is one of the first steps, kind of prepping today for this. One thing we do is we actually use the Bexon lid as the actual marker to tell us how big to cut it. You can actually, I wrap tape around it just so it don't get Sharpie on the new lid, but you lay that lid upside down on your boat, and that is a great template to actually tell you how big to cut the access port. You can mark that with a Sharpie and be assured when you cut it that the deck plate will fit, but it won't be too big. Got to give credit to my friend Bob Collin, who's the one who taught me that many years ago. So anyway, in this case, I'm going to have to hand cut it because I'm not going to have a new access to this. If I wasn't, I'd be using my Roto Zip, which actually has a circumference tool that will cut a perfect circle for the access port. So with this, I'm going to actually be using probably either my jigsaw or hand do it with the Roto Zip, and hopefully I'll get a chance to video that for everybody. So that's what's going on here in the stern. We're just getting started today, so I thought I'd start this video to step everybody through that. Moving on to the cockpit, a couple things are going to be done here is I'm actually replacing the thwart with a ash one that my friend Tim Harrod made for me, and that's going to replace the mahogany one that's here today. And that will that's a little bit longer, so it sits aft a little bit farther, which gives a little more room for the swivel cleat. Also on that thwart, we'll be replacing the original Traveler with a Ronstand one, which is a low profile and a lot less painful when you're sitting on it, when you're sitting forward upwind, and or when you have to sit forward going downwind to get the stern out of the water. Also, we'll be replacing the original Force 5 hiking strap with a Intensity hiking strap that's a wider strap, and it also is grippy, so it'll help in the hiking. These parts weren't done in the original refit. As you can see, a lot of the blocks were replaced, or cleats were replaced, and those cleats will be probably redone and changed to carbon fiber, because all of them outside of the inside ones are plastic ones, the original Harkin plastic ones, and the inside ones are actually carbon fiber. And we'll actually be putting 2 sets on each side back on, because the boom vang will go to the Harkin 15-to-1 vang, which will not cleat on the thwart, which also assists in freeing up the mass rotation on the front of the boat from the load from being cleated on the actual combing itself. So that's what's being done there. Next, we'll move on to the access port up front. This access port is going to also be replaced with an 8-inch access port, which will give us more access underneath. And we will be doing some reinforcing of the mast step. This is a 1979. The 1973s through 75s were the ones that were known to be prone to actually have failure at the deck tube fitting. This boat's pretty well reinforced, but we're going to do it now before we start racing the boat, give it some extra support, make sure that we don't have any problems down the road. Really won't add that much weight. The other thing we're going to be doing is replacing the actual pad eyes that are on here with actual hull attachments that will accept blocks that will give us a little better free flowing for the out hull and down hull than just the pad eyes. So these are some of the things that we're starting with. We'll be having some other things come up as we go through this boat. This boat will be getting a gel coat correction. We'll be doing although it looks good in the pictures, in person you can see some a little bit of staining, a little bit of discoloring that we will be cleaning off and cleaning out, and we'll be buffing the hull back out and hopefully getting it back to a like new condition. One other thing is this boat hadn't really been sailed a lot, so there's not a lot of gel coat stress cracks, and the daggerboard trunk is in really good shape. There's not a lot of anything really that's been damaged with that at all through the stress of sailing, so it's been pretty much a day sailor up to this point in its life. So it's going to definitely get a chance to be sailed hard and sailed a lot through some races with me. So anyway, I thought I'd share this today. This is my first video. Certainly hope we can do some more of these, and hope you guys see what it takes to refit a Force 5 and get it race ready. Thanks. So today we begin the retrofit of this 1979 Force 5. This retrofit will start here at the stern, is going to be putting larger access ports. I believe there's 6-inch or 8-inch access ports. That's going to give us access to reinforce the backing plate for the rudder bracket. We'll also be replacing the original rudder bracket bolts with 1/4-20s, and they will be through bolted because the original ones are actually threaded into an aluminum plate, and that's the first step in really getting the boat race ready. This boat had a partial refit many years ago that I assisted on, but now we're going to go through and do a complete retrofit. So we've removed the access port that was on there. I'm getting ready to cut those holes bigger. Boat it's pretty clean, but it's got a little bit of staining, so we'll be doing a complete gel coat correction to get it back to original, and then get it updated. Here in the cockpit, we're doing a couple things. We are going to be replacing the thwart with a ash thwart that a friend of mine made for me. We'll be upgrading the hiking strap to an intensity wide grippy strap for a hiking strap. Additionally, we'll be upgrading the Harkin swivel cleat. It will be the same type of swivel cleat, but it will also have a different head on it and a different pad eye over the top that will allow for angle adjustments with the main sheet while under sail. Also, the Ronstan Traveler to replace this Traveler. Those really nice because it's low profile when you need to sit inboard when sailing upwind in light air or getting forward on downwind. It allows you to sit on the actual thwart without having to sit on that large beam of the original Traveler. As I said before, this boat had all the cleats updated. They were updated to Harkin. Most of the ones on the boat are the plastic ones, except for the two that were for the 8-to-1 boom vang. Those 8-to-1 boom vang cleats will go away because we'll be going to a 15-to-1 Harkin cleat or boom vang that is also not cleated onto the actual thwart, or I'm sorry, the coaming, and that will allow for the mast to rotate freely since it won't be cleated back to the actual hull. And we'll get into that later. Up front, same thing here. We have the original access port that was put in it with that original refit, but we'll be upgrading that to a 6-inch or 8-inch Bexon access port. Up here at the mast step, we'll be doing some reinforcing the mast step inside and out. 79s were not known to blow the mast steps. That was early boats, 73, 74s, 75s. But we will also be doing a little bit of reinforcement just because I want to do it once and not have to deal with it. Also going to be removing these plastic pad eyes. Those plastic pad eyes will be replaced with attachments for actual blocks to support for the outhaul and downhaul. And then those will be done to support that. So over the next couple weeks, we'll be going through that and what needs to be done there. The boat has got a pretty good shine to it, but it'll get a gel coat correction. It'll also get a paint, or not a paint, but a buff out and complete shine, get it back to almost like new. This particular hull has very few cracks in the gel coat, and the daggerboard trunk and all the fittings are in really good shape. There's not a lot of stress to this boat. This boat hasn't seen any racing yet, so that will be coming in the coming year. So more to come on this boat, but I thought I'd get this first video started and kind of give you guys some insight to the work to be done. Thanks a lot.